right, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. Today is Monday, September 25th. This is our regular City Commission meeting. I'd like to get a roll call from our City Clerk, Vanessa Castillo, please.
Commissioner Yates.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Birdsong.
Here.
And Mayor Dantzler.
Here. Invocation tonight will be led by Pastor Cesar Perez from the Good Samaritan Christian Church, and our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Vanessa Castillo. Please stand if able.
I want to thank you all for allowing me to be here to do the invocation this evening. Let's pray. Lord of heaven and earth, creator of the universe, we present to you this meeting and every person here, including the commissioners and the staff. I ask you that your presence and your glory be manifested here. Many things will be discussed here tonight pertaining the future of our beloved city, Winter Haven. We ask that as a city, you forgive our sins. We stand in the gap for every citizen of this city and ask for forgiveness of our shortcomings. Please do not allow the enemy of our souls to bring any kind of destruction to our city, because we have forgotten you. We repent of all our evil ways. We now ask you to release a spirit of peace and love and understanding for each other, that every person that speaks here tonight would speak from a heart, or from your heart, a heart filled with love. Even though this place is not a church or a temple, we ask that you make this place your throne room. Lord, we are being attacked from every angle. Our morals and beliefs are being challenged and fought against us right here in this place. We ask you that you fill this place with your divine wisdom and uproot and destroy every evil plan. Do not allow today's culture to change or deny the truth which is founded in your holy scriptures. Our unity is being targeted by many that want to divide us by race, by ethnicity, by language. But you created all men and women equal, and we ask that you do not allow division to enter our city. But just as it is in heaven, keep us all united. We thank you for listening to our prayer in the name of Jesus Christ, who is Lord and the true God of this city. Amen.
Okay. Before we begin with our presentations, I've been asked for a special moment for somebody that's very special to this city. I'm going to call on Bob Gernert to come forward, please, and give you 5 minutes to make your presentation.
Thank you, Mayor Dantzler. And good evening, everyone. In 1970, a group of local public relations professionals decided to form a chapter of the Florida Public Relations Association. They held their organizational meeting at none other than Christie Sundown. The chapter is named for Cypress Gardens founder Dick Pope. I've been a member of the group for the past 45 years, and for most of those years, our group has recognized a Polk County organization for outstanding public service. This year, we want to recognize Coastal Acoustic Barefoot Music. Duke Burr and T. Michael Stavros have been together since 2004, and they will celebrate 20 years of musical bliss in 2024. They typically play 4 to 6 times per month throughout the year. The duo started the Strike a Chord for Change initiative in 2008. And while no official records were kept for each year, on the average, they donate around $4,000, sometimes more and sometimes less. When they did the lip sync battle, they used their music platform to raise an additional $11,000 under the same strategy of using music to give back to education. Over the years, Duke and T. Michael have donated countless numbers of performances to organizations for use in their silent auctions, such as Winter Haven Hospital Foundation, Girls Inc., Meals on Wheels, All Saints Academy, Lewis Family Cancer Foundation, Polk State College Foundation, and these range in value from $1,500 to $2,000 in-kind service. Folks to whom they've donated cash over the years include the Winter Haven PEP, which is a group that works with our schools, Cypress Junction Montessori Charter School, Winter Haven High School Band Boosters, Lake Region High School Band Boosters, Jewett Academy, Girls Inc., Theater Winter Haven, Cypress Gardens Water Ski Team, and Meals on Wheels. Their proceeds for 2023 are all earmarked for the Humane Society of Polk County. As of 2023, these musicians have donated an estimated $80,000 to Worthy Haven area organizations. T. Michael Stavros is our popular city manager. Duke Burr and his family have long owned a local printing company. His grandparents started the weekly Winter Haven Herald here in 1930. Both are well-respected, very talented, and as you can see, they're quite generous. It's an honor for me to recognize Coastal Acoustic Barefoot Music, even though I can't say it, with our FPRA Chapter's 2023 Public Service Award, and rather than present them each with a plaque that they would probably fight over, we're going to put $100 in their donation jar, and I'm here to present that. Gentlemen. I actually got Duke here by calling and saying, I want to honor Michael tonight. Will you join me? And he said, right, he's right there. Never asked me a question or anything. So he said, I don't know what you're doing here tonight, but I think I'm going to like it. And I said, oh, I think you will. Anyway, we're not a wealthy chapter, but we did feel like we wanted to donate to the cause. And you do such wonderful things for the community. And the committee that selects this each year is countywide, and they were amazingly impressed with what you've done. So thank you again.
Commissioners, I'd just like to just put a brief afterthought on that. It's not, it's money we've donated it, but it's everyone who listens to us, it's their money. We're just the conduits. You know, we ask folks to donate, and they do, and we are just more than honored to share it with you. It's our privilege.
Okay, well, Duke, T, thank you so much. You guys have enlightened and made people happy for many, many years. We hope you get to keep doing it for many, many years to come. So,
Thank you, sir.
okay, presentations tonight. We have a National Hispanic Heritage Month proclamation. This will be Vanessa Castillo, our city clerk, and then after that will be our State Housing Initiative Partnership Annual Report, the SHIP Annual Report. But let's, commissioners, meet us down here for the National Hispanic Heritage Month proclamation.
Mayor and Commissioners, while you're coming down, I believe Anna Rivera with the Puerto Rican Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Polk County will also be coming to the podium to join City Clerk Vanessa Castillo. Our proclamation reads, whereas National Hispanic Heritage Month recognizes and celebrates the contributions of those tracing their roots to Spain, Mexico, Central America, South America, and the 11 Spanish-speaking nations of the Caribbean, consisting of Puerto Rico, Cuba, the Dominican Republic, and the smaller islands. And whereas from America's earliest days, Hispanic Americans have played a prominent and important role in our national heritage. National Hispanic Heritage Month is an annual celebration of the history and culture of the United States Hispanic communities, which have influenced and contributed to the American society at large. During National Hispanic Heritage Month, we celebrate the countless contributions of more than 62 million Hispanic Americans to our culture and society. And whereas Hispanic Americans are the largest minority group in the United States today, and generations of Hispanic Americans have consistently helped make our country strong and prosperous, they contribute to our nation beyond description. And whereas Hispanic Americans embody the best of our American values, including commitment to faith, family, and country, they serve with honor in all branches of the armed forces, continuing a strong legacy of dedication to our country. And whereas the Hispanic American community has left an indelible mark on our government, culture, and economy, and continue to embody the pioneering spirit of America today. And whereas Hispanic Americans lift up our communities and our economy as entrepreneurs, executives, and small business owners and make contributions in the areas of science, art, music, politics, academia, government, and sports. Hispanic Americans strengthen our bonds with our Latin American neighbors, with whom we share a rich history and unite with them in hemispheric solidarity based on a shared commitment to democratic principles. Now therefore, Bradley T. Dantzler, Mayor of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, does hereby proclaim September 15th through October 15th, 2023 as National Hispanic Heritage Month in the City of Winter Haven, and urges all citizens to honor the achievements and contributions made by all Hispanic Americans to go towards our great country. In witness whereof he is here and to set his hand and cause the seal of the City of Winter Haven, Florida to be affixed this 25th day of September 2023. Signed, Bradley T. Dantzler, Mayor. Attest, Vanessa Castillo, City Clerk. Thank you.
As always, I'll start in Spanish. Buenas tardes, alcalde, vicealcalde, concilio administrador, administrador diputado, abogado de la ciudad. Just done. Y todos en la audiencia. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioner Yates, and staff. My name is Vanessa Castillo, and I'm the City Clerk for the City of Winter Haven and Chairperson for this year's Hispanic Heritage Employee Luncheon. On behalf of the city's Employee Diversity and Inclusivity Team, which they're all with me here, Hispanic and Latino employees and citizens, we thank you for presenting us with the city's 4th National Hispanic Heritage Month proclamation, or in Spanish, Mes Nacional de la Herencia Hispana. Not all members of the ED&I team were able to be here tonight, but I'd like to thank our fearless leader and loudest cheerleader, Employee Diversity Inclusivity Director Christine Samuel, and each member of this wonderfully diverse and unified team for working hard to ensure that everything surrounding National Hispanic Heritage Month is educational, promotes awareness, is inclusive, and engages all. To culminate the month, the team is hosting its 3rd employee luncheon to be held in October on Friday the 13th. We are excited to hold this once again, as it has always been a huge success. We get great feedback from employees who look forward to it each year, including some of you. We are so thankful the city allows us to do this each year. So now we'd like to present our special guest, who you already know, Ana Rivera, President and Founder of the Puerto Rican Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Polk County, who will be sharing information about the Chamber, Hispanic Heritage Month, and also showing a short video.
Wow. That's a mouthful right there. Buenas tardes, good afternoon, everyone. And let's kick it off with a series that with a collaboration with PGTV, Polk County History Center, and our chamber, we developed a series of 12 videos that are educational, and they're in English, so everyone can enjoy them. So roll the tape.
Welcome, bienvenidos to the Hispanic Heritage Month Educational Video Series. National Hispanic Heritage Month is celebrated annually in the United States from September 15th to October 15th. The month-long celebration recognizes and rejoices in the unique heritage of people whose ancestors come from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, Central, and South America. The observation started in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Lyndon Johnson and was expanded by President Ronald Reagan in 1988 to cover a 30-day period. It was enacted into law on August 17, 1988. This month, join the Puerto Rican Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Polk County, the Polk County History Center, and PGTV as we recognize Hispanic heritage in Polk County and across the state of Florida, or better said as Pascua, Florida, as Spanish explorer Juan Ponce de Leon named us in 1514.
Great beat, doesn't it? It has a great beat to it. series covers everything that has an influence within our current society, everything from religion to architecture to self-expression. And it also recognizes local heroes such as Jorge Cordova, who is your Detroit Tigers Latin American pitching coach. So neighbor-type society here. So I'm going to say something very quick. Like I'm always, I kind of get long-winded, right? So thank you for inviting me back to address this body of leaders today on such a grand occasion. Thank you, Mayor Dantzler, for attending our 15th year anniversary this past January. I'm sure you enjoyed the food, the dancing, y las picas. But did you know that the start of National Hispanic Heritage Month on September 15 coincides with the Independence Day for Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, y Nicaragua? Have we let those communities know that we are recognizing them as well today for their independence? Did you also know that the Hispanic population in Winter Haven is third in Polk County? And you're growing because that's as of 2020. So Lakeland, of course, being first, and then Haines City, but we're at 10K plus, so that means we're catching up real fast. So last year, we celebrated our first Hispanic downtown event, and it was El Festival de las Americas. This year, I said kudos to Parks and Recreation Department for picking up this last September 16th. Hopefully, we can bring back more events that will cater to our Hispanic constituents and our non-Hispanic constituents, and opening the road for you to continue in the future. Perhaps this coming year, we may do a Cinco de Mayo block party. I think people would love that. On another note, I invite you to share our Hispanic Heritage video series that you just took a look at. And we want to be able to bring people to the table, be it in the sciences, in advocacy, business development, the arts, et cetera, to this table. And before I close, I would like to put to the table an idea as your Hispanic population grows. Dear Mayor, consider yourself developing a Café con el Alcalde on a monthly basis, and probably we can bring in more Hispanics into this room on your monthly meetings. So thank you very much. And I'm wearing my colors today, as you can see, Boricua all the way. And I have something special to give and present to you. So this certificate of recognition is from the Puerto Rican Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Polk County, recognizing the city of Winter Haven as a community who has embraced the Hispanic population as they see its growth benefiting this community. Thank you for all you do and continue to do as your community grows within such diversity. Thank you, community, culture, and commerce.
Step up a step.
So when we count to three, say mofongo.
Phone call.
Mofongo. 1, 2, 3, mofongo!
We probably should have asked what mofongo means before we all shouted that, because you probably have some film footage of that that we may not want out there. So what does that mean, actually,
It's
Vanessa?
a delicious food. It's a plantain before it's sweet. You know, you have sweet plantains, then you have the unsweet before they're ripe. You mash it up with oil, garlic, and pork cracklings, and you make it like you mash it up. That's like one of my favorite things.
Well, good. Well, I'm not Hispanic, but I look for that Hispanic luncheon every year. That's always the best food, so. And everybody has so
Thank
much
you.
fun. Okay, next up, we have a state housing initiative, a SHIP annual report with Eric Labby, our Economic Opportunity and Community Investment Director. Eric?
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. So I just heard that September 15th was the start of the National Hispanic Heritage Month. It's also the day that we transmitted our annual SHIP report to the state. Not as exciting as National Hispanic Heritage Month, but, so I'm here pitch hitting for Diane Durr, our Affordable Housing Programs Manager. She unfortunately could not be here tonight. So we have a little update for you. Our State Housing Initiatives Partnership Program, which is referred to as the SHIP program. This is state money that we receive annually to implement affordable housing programs within the city of Winter Haven. It is highly regulated. There are a number of rules and regulations to the SHIP program, and we're blessed to have Diane here administering that for us. A minimum of 65% of the jurisdiction's allocation must be spent on home ownership strategies. 30% of that 65% must be for very low or low-income households. Another 20% of that 65% must be for special needs households. So these are folks that are receiving disability or have some sort of disabled individual in their home. We have implemented a couple of new strategies. As you are aware, we updated our LHAP. And so we have implemented a couple of new strategies, being homeowner repair, emergency repair, and disaster assistance. We believe those new strategies will help us to distribute the funds into the community based on both need and what we've seen in the housing market in the most recent years. It's very difficult to find very low and low-income home buyers, and so we're implementing new strategies to fix up existing homes and provide disaster assistance and emergency repair services. What you see before you, I believe at your dais, is the closeout report for fiscal year 2021. That is what was transmitted on September 15th to the state. Brief overview of that program year, 2020-2021. As you may recall, we did not get SHIP funding for that year. That was the coronavirus year that we all remember not so fondly. Instead, we received CARES funds that were used for rental assistance primarily, as well as some utility payments that were eligible within the jurisdiction. We did not get funded that year with a SHIP allocation, but we did have funds available. Those were carryover funds to the tune of $97,000 from the previous fiscal year. Program income. Program income is when we've provided down payment assistance to an individual, a low-income individual, to purchase a home, and then they either sell or refinance the home during the repayment period. At that time, they must repay that loan to the city, and it goes back into the SHIP funds to be used again. It is in an interest-bearing account, and so we had a total of $160,860 for program year 2021, which is reflected in that report that you see in front of you. The pages beyond the first page of that report detail exactly how those funds were, some of those funds were spent in that fiscal year. As you can see, we have one unit of purchase assistance that was $15,000, emergency repair, which was $40,000. And then in the final pages of the report, it details how much of that strategy was in home ownership, how much was in construction and rehabilitation, the income categories that we assisted. You can see we assisted a very low family, an extremely low family, a very low family, and a moderate income family. And so that was sent off to the state. We also provide an interim report for fiscal year 21-22. In fiscal year 21-22, we received an allocation of $321,703. The activities performed in that fiscal year to date. Now remember, we have 3 years to spend this money, so we still have another fiscal year yet to spend down these funds. We've assisted 3 very low-income households at $30,000 each, 4 low-income households at $20,000, and 6 moderate-income households at $15,000. One of those applications, after it was processed, was deemed to be ineligible. There was some misinformation on the application, so they had to repay those funds to the city, to the SHIP account. We have encumbered some additional assistance, being one extremely low-income household at $20,000, a low-income household at $20,000, and another low-income household at $25,000. There's disaster assistance funds that we have also expended, and you can see the breakdown there. 4 moderate income households, 1 low income, and 1 very low. And then what we call our update year, which is 22-23, we received an allocation of $489,968. The applications that we have received to date are 36 applications, 14 for roof repair, 6 for insurance deductible payments. 14 of them currently are incomplete. We're working with the applicants to complete those applications and process them, and 2 were deemed ineligible. We also have housing assistance for all activities except for the disaster. So the total applications for that, which would be down payment assistance or emergency repair, is 26 applications that we have in-house that we are processing. That is your very brief SHIP update, and I'd stand for any questions you may have regarding our transmittal.
Commissioners, questions? Eric, my question has to do with rental assistance. I know the LHAP had to be amended to do that. I don't see any of that on here. Is that because we haven't amended that yet, or?
Yes, sir. We have not amended the LHAP to include rental assistance. We are allowed, of the allocation that we receive, SHIP allows a maximum of 15% of those funds to be used for rental assistance. And so,
Without having to change the LHAP?
no, we still would need to amend the LHAP to include the rental assistance. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, just for clarification on that, you are allowed to have rental assistance as a strategy, but you're only allowed to allocate so much money towards that. If you had $500,000 come in SHIP funds, you can't put all of that towards
Right.
rental assistance. It's a very small amount that can actually go towards rental assistance.
Okay. Okay, Eric, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Okay, next up, we have developments of notice none. Commissioners, you have the minutes from the September 12th, 2023 regular city commission meeting and the, that's it. Regular city commission meeting on September the 12th.
And Mr. Mayor, Commission, included in those minutes was the letter that I prepared that articulates the basis for the denial of ordinance O 2347 that you acted on at the September 12th meeting, if you may remember that. So we'll have
Okay.
Mr. Labby sign that after you've approved the minutes.
Thank you, John. So noted.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
motion to approve minutes from September 12th, 2023, regular city commission meeting.
thank you. You have a motion to approve September 12th, 23 regular city commission meeting. I'll close the city commission meeting and open the public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak to the minutes, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, reopen city commission meeting. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. There's a mayor's statement I need to read at this point. State law requires the first substantive issues to be discussed at this hearing are the percentage increase in the millage rate over the rollback rate and the reason ad valorem tax revenues are increasing. The city of Winter Haven current proposed millage rate is 6.59, which is 9.71% higher than the rollback rate of 6.0066 mills. The ad valorem proceeds resulting from the difference between the proposed millage rate and the rollback rate will be used to offset increased operating costs and fund capital projects. Okay. On to ordinance second reading, public hearing of ad valorem tax millage rate fiscal year 2023 budget. City Attorney, would you read by title only, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Would you let me read the entire ordinance?
Okay, read the entire ordinance for us.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-23-53. An ordinance adopting a millage rate to provide sufficient funds for projected expenditures of the 2023-2024 fiscal year budget of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, and providing an effective date. Whereas on September 12th, 2023, the city of Winter Haven held a public hearing as required by Florida Statute 200.065. And whereas the city of Winter Haven strives to provide a level of service consistent with the expressed desires and demands of its citizens, and whereas it is necessary that taxpayers of Winter Haven also be willing to share the common expenses of said services and to provide funds therefore. Now therefore be it enacted by the people of the city of Winter Haven, Florida as follows. Section 1, the millage levy for fiscal year 2023-2024 is hereby set at a rate of 6.5900 mils. Section 2, property taxes are increased 9.71% over the rollback rate of 6.0066 mils. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect on October 1, 2023, introduced on first reading the 12th day of September 2023, and introduced on second reading this 25th day of September 2023. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager?
Mayor and Commissioners, good evening. As the city attorney referenced within the ordinance itself, Florida statutes do require each taxing authority to annually set a millage rate for property tax section following required public hearings. This is our second public hearing on millage. Our proposed millage rate is 6.59 mils. This is the same millage rate that we have for fiscal year '23. You can see by the chart that I've displayed, Polk County wide, Winter Haven is in ninth position in terms of property millage tax rates. For the benefit of those in the audience, those agencies that are displayed in a green or teal color, those are tax rates that went down, which is what we did last year with ours. Those that are in yellow are those that stayed the same from the year prior, and those that are in red are jurisdictions that are increasing, and you can see that ours will remain the same after having been lowered for fiscal year '23. Again, this is the second reading. The 6.59 mils ad valorem rate will generate $25,059,424 to the city's general fund at a collection rate of 96.5%. Staff recommends City Commission approve ordinance O2353 on second and final hearing.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Mr. Mayor,
Thank you.
move approval of ordinance O2353 adopting the millage rate for fiscal year 23-24.
Thank you. We have motion to adopt the millage rate. I'll close the city commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak to this item, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, reopen city commission meeting. Commissioners, questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those like sign, motion passes. All right, adopting the budget for fiscal year 23-24, item 9B on your agenda. City Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-23-54, an ordinance making appropriations of funds for defraying the expenses of the municipal government of the city of Winter Haven for fiscal year 2023-2024, adopting the budget of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, fiscal year commencing October 1, 2023 as the official budget of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, fiscal year 2023-2024, and providing an effective date. Whereas Florida statutes require each taxing authority to annually adopt tentative and final budgets, and whereas estimates have been made by the city manager of the city of Winter Haven as presented in the budget of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, fiscal year commencing October 1, 2023, showing that the sum of $260,308,996 will be required for defraying the expenses of maintaining the government of the city of Winter Haven, Florida for the fiscal year 2023-2024. And whereas the budget of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, fiscal year commencing October 1, 2023, anticipates sufficient revenue to fund projected expenditures of $260,308,996. Now therefore be it enacted by the people of the city of Winter Haven, Florida as follows. Section 1, the sum of $260,308,996 is hereby appropriated out of all of the various revenues accruing to the city of Winter Haven and set aside for the purpose of paying the expenses of and maintaining the government of the city of Winter Haven for fiscal year 2023-2024. Section 2, the budget of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, fiscal year commencing October 1, 2023, on file in the office of the city clerk, is hereby adopted by reference as the official budget of the city of Winter Haven, Florida for fiscal year 2023-2024. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect October 1, 2023, introduced on first reading the 12th day of September 2023, introduced on second reading the 25th day of September 2023. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager?
Mayor and Commissioners, again, Florida statute requires each taxing authority to annually adopt tentative and final budgets. This is our second reading for the City of Winter Haven budget for fiscal year '24. I'm going to go briefly through some of the information that was presented at our July budget workshop, again at first reading on September 12th in a somewhat consolidated form for this evening. As I mentioned, The City of Winter Haven budget is built around 6 primary pillars of service that focus on quality of life, community safety, infrastructure, responsible government, environmental stewardship, and economic sustainability. Every service that the city provides will fall within one or multiple of these pillars or strategic areas of emphasis. We are tracking metrics, measurements, performance measurements in all these areas as part of our budget process for fiscal year '24, which aligns with the GFOA, Government Financial Officers Association, their guidance on best practices for municipal budgeting. Budget highlights. We have a balanced budget with the current millage rate of 6.59 mils. Property values increased 15.2% to $4.26 billion in fiscal year '23-24. That is up from $3.7 billion in '22-23. The ad valorem revenues increased by almost $3.2 million in the general fund for a total of $25,059,424, as I previously noted in the ordinance pertaining to millage. We do continue to allocate $250,000 towards affordable housing, including a residential infill affordable housing program. Our budget includes a STEP program for our employees that has been in place for the past several years. It continues to fund that. It also contemplates a cost of living adjustment for our employees with certain higher adjustments for law enforcement, firefighters included. The budget is, as the city attorney mentioned, $260,308,996. It includes a total of 692 employees, not all full-time, but of those, 604 are full-time. There are 13 new positions within the budget at the full-time rate or full-time capacity. Those are spread amongst multiple funds. Within the general fund, there are 3.5 new positions added this year. I mentioned about the millage rate already. We do continue to fund our business partners in the community of Polk Vision, Main Street Winter Haven, the Chamber of Commerce, and the Winter Haven EDC. Our service partners in the delivery of certain programs, Keep Winter Haven Clean and Beautiful, the Marching Wolverines Community Band, and the Ridge Art Association, and then external contracted services with Winter Haven Area Transit or Lakeland Area Mass Transit District, and our Heart for Winter Haven Homeless Initiative are all funded. We also fund 33 individual nonprofit agencies that were vetted and reviewed by the Grant and Aid Application Review Committee. These are the agencies that are funded for fiscal year '24 for a total of $305,000 that will go towards those nonprofits serving our community. I mentioned the STEP plan. In fiscal year '24, city employees that meet the expectations of performance for their job and have received an appropriate evaluation documenting such, a favorable evaluation will receive a 2.5% adjustment on their anniversary date. So not effective October 1st unless that's when they started with us, but on their anniversary date. Cost of living adjustment for our workforce is set at 2%. This will go across the board for all employees except for those that are within our police and fire operations. We have negotiated a successful collective bargaining agreement with the police union that came before you, I believe, last meeting. We are still in negotiations with the fire union at this time, as well as the Federation of Public Employees, which represents a lot of our frontline, more blue-collar, trade-specific positions, and we hope to have those reconciled relatively soon. The general fund will end fiscal year '24 with a fund balance of 31%. Which accounts for $21,786,023. This is in line with fiscal policies that we adopted in the spring of fiscal year '23, so we are in a good position to respond to emergencies should they arise. Significant items within the general fund. You can again recall improvements to Fire Station 1, within our parks and grounds, trail resurfacing and microsurfacing, some playground replacement, improvements to the Roddy Gaines Olympic Pool, the senior center, tennis courts, activity fields. We do have a number of items within the within the planning division as well regarding our transportation element, our First Street North study, strategic annexation plan, and grant management for FDOT grants. In the streets operation, again, continued work on day-to-day and not so much the major big projects. Those will fall within the transportation fund, but you can see transportation studies are funded at $120,000. Lake Ship roadway design, initial work on that at $150,000. There's a number of pieces of equipment that are slated for replacement this year, expansion of our electric charging stations, relatively familiar projects from our earlier presentations. Construction fund, this is where the bulk of our new expenses occur within fiscal year '24. Lake Maud Park Phase 2, which is under construction. Improvements to the Winter Haven Recreation and Cultural Center, those are in design at present time. We'll be bringing a presentation back to you on that. Chain of Lakes Park Phase 2, I hope to have an interlocal agreement for consideration by the commission in October. The Lake Elbert Trail project has been awarded. Construction and purchase of a new building division facility that will take place, actually renovation of the former Fire Station 1 immediately to the north of the building we're in. Roddy Gaines Pool renovations, as I'd mentioned, HVAC renovations at Normale Hall, Lake Conine improvements, and then Fire Stations 4 and 5. The Lake Silver abatement, that's actually a revetment project to stabilize the shoreline there with assistance of state funds that were made possible through the efforts of Sam Killebrew. Transportation fund, Pollard Road CSX extension, this is the biggest one within that. That is about 50 cents, actually a little less than 50 cents on the dollar, thanks to some state money that we have received over the years for that project. Continued work on South Lake Howard Drive, the Motor Pool Road project, $2 million set aside for the Transportation Improvement Project, which is resurfacing. Continued focus on sidewalk gaps where we have them. So again, trying to improve our transportation system in partnership with DOT on a lot of these projects as well, to the tune of almost $20 million. CRAs are both doing well. Total ad valorem revenue being taken in by the downtown CRA based upon the developments there is about $3.2 million, about $1.1 million within the Florence Villa CRA. The Florence Villa CRA valuation actually outpaced the downtown CRA this year at 22.10% versus 6.86%. So that's promising to see some reinvestment into the Florence Villa CRA area. We do still have $1 million set aside for specific projects, transportation improvement projects, the TIP, again, resurfacing. We continue to fund that at $2 million out of that $1 million. There's some money set aside for, again, Roddy Gaines Pool and Chain of Lakes Park Phase 2 for fiscal year '24. Within the utility fund, this is, about half of the entire budget falls within utilities. The South Lake Howard Sewer Replacement Project is underway right now. That's going to be a project that will take us the next 3 to 6 months, so expect some interruptions in travel in that general area. Gate valve installation, that is mostly along State Road 544, Lucerne Park Road, and up through that neck of the woods where we're installing new gates within our reuse system. Repairs to the Inwood ground storage tank, rehabilitation of air basins, and rehab clarifiers as part of our wastewater treatment plant operations, lift station rehabs, and again, a lot of the projects that you see year over year that are part of the repair and replacement of the utility system. They're major 5-year capital projects. Keep in mind, these are out over 5 years, and they are not all being paid for in fiscal year '24. But the wastewater treatment plant 3 expansion is the biggest of those. That will become a wastewater recycling facility. Our One Water projects, which include restoration of wetlands, new water treatment plants in Inwood, Cypress Wood, and also on Pollard Road. Our interconnects with neighboring utilities, water distribution system expansions, Harmony Master Lift Station, a number of projects that will be funded out over 5 years. A lot of this will be through the WIFIA loan, which we are prepared to submit, I believe, in November of this year to the federal government. In closing on the budget, again, just a couple points. Total budget for fiscal year 23-24, $260,308,996. That increase is mostly tied to expansion of capital investment, so putting more money back into infrastructure and into projects. It includes 13 new additional full-time positions and 2 part-time positions, a 2% COLA for our employees other than those that are adjusted otherwise within police and fire and some other special positions to align with market rate. There is almost $20,000 set aside for transportation fund capital projects and almost a little over $59 million set aside for construction projects outside of transportation. With that, again, it's been an honor to work with the staff on preparing this budget. I know CJ could not be with us this evening as she is traveling back into the area today and had some delays, but just want to thank everybody that's been involved with it, and I'll happily stand for any questions you may have.
Commissioners, any questions or comments for T. Michael?
Just one quick question for clarification. The last several years, that $1 million has gone into the account for specific road projects. We mapped that out, and you had the hot roads and based upon need. A lot of those have not gotten to completion yet. I assume those mills in previous have all rolled over, and so those funds are all still there and ready to roll for those projects to get going now that supply chain issues and whatnot has been corrected. Is that?
I'll defer to Deputy City Manager on that. That's his baby.
Good evening, Mayor and City Commissioners. That's correct, yes. That transportation fund is set up specifically for that reason. Much similar to the construction funds, many of those projects, they run into issues, they take a long time to do, so that funding is set up to be able to carry over so that when it's allocated for those specific projects, it sticks with them.
Great, thank you.
MJ, my question, since you're talking about roads, has to do with sidewalks. I know we have the hot streets, and we've done the analysis of all the roads and using technology to make sure we get the right ones done first. Did we do the same thing for sidewalks? And I noticed we're only putting in $75,000 towards sidewalks, which is what we've done in years past. If we were to increase that in the future, would that help us along our sidewalk path?
Yeah, so we also, we collected data for all of our sidewalks. We understand where our gaps are. We've prioritized them based on proximity to schools, available right away, connectivity to the rest of our existing network. And then we've created an internal team that is filling gaps in sidewalks and making sidewalk repairs. And they're able to fill a lot more gaps internally than if we go through a contracted service for that. And we're also, you may have noticed outside of City Hall that there's some areas where the sidewalk cracks have been ground. So we have a contractor that we're working with there that's, doing some remediation, so they're taking care of tripping hazards and things like that. And then they'll mark out specifically places where there are bigger issues, where a section of sidewalk needs to be replaced, and we will do that with our in-house team when they're in between filling gaps.
Who makes a decision if there's like a tree that has to be removed? I think you and I talked about that in the past, when there's a tree that grows up through a sidewalk and there's just no way to rehab that sidewalk other than take the tree out. Is that a staff decision, or how does that?
So we have a couple techniques, we have a lot of techniques to work around trees, and we're actually looking at some new ones right now. But usually if there's a tree involved, we'll bring an arborist into the picture and get a professional recommendation before we remove a tree.
Okay. So you don't necessarily chop the tree down, you give it a chance.
Right. And we try to, like I said, we have a lot of efforts in place to try to remediate that. So if there's there's a product called FlexiPave that we're looking at right now. So it is it's like it's like a rubberized asphalt. So you can put it down and it allows roots to kind of press up, and then it allows water to come through that. So there's a lot of different techniques we can use to try to not have to take the tree out, but still put a safe pedestrian pathway in.
So back to my original question about the 75 grand, is that enough to do what you need to do, or do we need to consider more?
I think that because of the in-house crew that we created and the funding that we've been providing to that team to fill gaps, we're getting more done than I think we would otherwise. So I think the way that we have it structured right now from a funding perspective is getting us a lot closer to our goal. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I just add with that, keep in mind that when we do complete street projects, that's a huge chunk of where we have major gaps. So use Avenue K Northeast as a prime example. There's no sidewalk infrastructure whatsoever from First Street North to Polk State College along Avenue K. But with that complete street project, that is included within that. So that's some of the opportunities that also supplemented with the sidewalk infrastructure.
Good deal. All right, commissioners, you got some more to say?
I'll just add that, I said it before and I'll say it again. I think this is a fiscally responsible, lean budget. I think staff's done a wonderful job, and I appreciate all the long hours and effort that you've put into this. I think the citizens of Winter Haven can be happy with this and know that we've got a balanced budget here and that the city is continuing to move forward. So with that, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance O-23-54, adopting the budget for fiscal year 23-24 on second reading.
Thank you. We have a motion to adopt the budget O-23-54. I'll close the city commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak on the budget, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, reopen city commission meeting. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Congratulations, T. Your first budget is passed.
Yes, sir. Thank you to staff. That's, and not just the directors, but all staff are to be commended for their insights and expertise on what their needs are and how best to accomplish those in a very fiscally conservative approach.
And just for those watching on internet and people that are here, we start this process in June, and here we are finally passing the budget in late September. So
Well,
you guys start before June, but we
I'd say
start in
that
June.
Your staff is working on the 2025 fiscal year budget
Right.
now. So
But
it
your
takes them
commissioners start
before-
having meetings in June
Yeah.
on this thing, because this is one of the most important things that we do, is to pass this budget, so, and like Commissioner Yates said, this is a good budget, so. Okay, on to comments from the audience. I've had two people sign up. Kim Davis, if you come forward, give us your name and address, you have 5 minutes.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Kim Davis. I live at 354 Terra Nova Boulevard, Winter Haven, 33884. I'm going to read my statement first so that I don't lose track. I am a bit disappointed that the city has decided to spend $30,000 for someone to go through and teach this DEIB program. That's a lot of money for a program that is well known for isolating and segregating groups of people and not encouraging them and lifting them up. So it kind of disappoints me. I see our country and our city as being something that is very diverse and very exciting and something that should be encouraged to grow. And when you bring in a program that asks you to start and encouraging people to kind of antagonize and look for things that people are doing wrong amongst each other, I think you're really asking for problems. And that is what this program is known for. And that is, just because it is on the global stage doesn't mean we need to bring it here to Winter Haven. And as you can see, I am not. I also want to point out something as a realtor. If I have a customer that comes to me and says, and a Mexican family comes to me and says, I really want to live in a Mexican neighborhood, somewhere where they speak Spanish, and, as part of my license, I have to tell them that they need to withdraw that request and that they need to give me number of rooms, a price range, and maybe a location that they need a certain proximity. If they want to be within 5 miles of work or 10 miles of work, that is how they have to describe that to me. Somebody cannot just say, I want to live around all of the Hispanic people. I will lose my license for that. So when you have a program that encourages people to be isolated into groups, I really have a problem with that. I just want us all to lift each other up, no matter what your race, sex, or gender identity is. I want everybody to be encouraged to be the best they are, that they are put into place based on their education and their work ethic, that they are the right person for the job no matter what all of those personal issues are. And I hope that's where we're all looking to be. And that's it.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you, Ms. Davis. Next up, we have Gary Schimmer.
Thank you for having me, Commissioners. I just want to thank you and the city for their past support of the Ritz Theater and hopefully your future support. I'm thanking you on the behalf of the Board of Directors, but also all of the patrons that use the Ritz, whether it's the people who worship there on Sunday morning or those who go there for an old movie or listen to a musical event or watch the fly fishing film festival that's there. I think, again, the Ritz Theater has served this community for over 100 years and continues to do so, and I appreciate your support. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Okay, so that's all that signed up, but anybody else is welcome to come forward. If you would like to come forward, please do so. You got 5 minutes. Give us your name and address, please.
Jonathan Bush, 713 Avenue M, South Winter Haven. Hello and good evening. First of all, I'd like to thank each of you for your service to our city, and I mean that. It is a sacrifice to do the job that you do. My name is Jonathan Bush. I'm a resident of Winter Haven. I'm a registered voter, and by God's grace, I'm a husband, a father of 6, and a local pastor. I stand before you this evening in order to voice my concern over the city's choice to require DEI training for its employees. Now, before I state why, let me say this. I believe that we must all show compassion, kindness, hospitality, and general respect to one another, regardless of ethnicity, gender, or sexual orientation. Hopefully, no one would disagree with that, but if they do, that's certainly their right to do so. My concern with DEI is the same concern that I have with CRT. I think that it may end up hurting those that it may claim to help. Now, certainly training programs to prevent abuse in the workplace, bullying, and so on, and to promote general ethical behavior and decorum should be implemented. But DEI training such as this zeroes in on those differences that we are meant to ignore. And I looked over the slides of the training, and it seemed innocuous enough, but it's still DEI, even though it's a little watered down. And it seems that we could spend $30,000, that $30,000 could be used for more important needs that this city has. And the reason this is concerning to me is due to some previous decisions that I think have been made by our city leaders dating back to the decisions made during COVID. I watched the 2 meetings online when our leaders decided to implement mask mandates upon healthy individuals, including young children, which, by the way, is a violation of basic human rights that are given to us by God. And now I know in that meeting, some of you said no one's going to get arrested for not wearing a mask, but you tiptoed into it. And I just ask you, what about next time? What's also concerning to me is the fact that our mayor recently signed the LGBTQ proclamation. Now, Mr. Dantzler, I want to urge you to reconsider that for next year. I realize that each city commissioner is not responsible for that proclamation, but each city commissioner had their pictures taken with the proclamation. And this most certainly means that each of you either affirm the decision, but if you do not, I think it's bad optics. And the reason I'm lumping all of these together is because it seems to be a pattern. It seems that our city is tiptoeing into the cesspool of wokeism that has polluted our entire culture. And it may be a seemingly benign proclamation or a harmless DEI initiative, but what is the next step? Will we follow into the footsteps of Lakeland and host drag shows in our government-owned buildings which purposefully target children? God forbid. And this year it's Pride Day. Will it be Pride Week next year? And so, gentlemen, I'm concerned for the direction of our city, and I urge you to make wiser and more thoughtful decisions as it pertains to these social issues that I think are causing much more division in our community than they are good. So thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Anybody else like to address the body? Come forward, you don't have to sign up. Please, somebody raise their hand? Yeah, come on up. No, I don't mind, that's what this part of the meeting's for. Give us your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
Let me take my time to Julio Villagran. I live in 2413 Berkshire Drive here in Winter Haven. I'm a happy resident of Winter Haven for the last 3 years. I used to live north. I don't want to mention the city because I'm disappointed the way how the city is turning into. I lived in the States for over 15 years. And I might say that, like everybody else, many of you, all of you born here, I adopt the citizen of being an American citizen. I have obeyed every law, every rule. I have never lived out of the government, except now that I'm retired, I just getting my money back. I put my kids through private schools, private colleges. I spend a lot. They are professionals. My daughter is a doctor now here. She moved also from the north, following me, and is proud working in all the hospitals as a doctor. Winter Haven is a family town. I admire the core of the town. I admire the way how people are friendly. You walk, you go into the supermarket, you walk anywhere. People are nice. So I established a business with my wife. Okay? I spend a lot of money and fix it. I try to get one of the best business, trying to give it to the town what the town deserves. So we grown a beautiful family here, and I expect to have, I have 2 daughters now. One is 18 and one is 5. I might not look like I have a 5-year-old daughter, but I am. But I want a future the way how I was brought into this country. I have, as I say, I have 2 kids. They are in the late 30s now, and they are professionals, and they never were brainwashed. And believe me, I know about brainwash. I was originally born in Ecuador, and I went to high school like everybody else. And they brainwashed me that the Peruvians, they were the bad guys. Could be anywhere in the world. The Peruvians were the worst people that you can see. Guess what? It was on my brain. All my life, I could not see a Peruvian. I was working north. I have maybe like 4,000 units that were under my control. I had like 15 secretaries. I never hired, even have 90 guys under my control. I would never hire one person that was a Peruvian because I was brainwashed. Okay? So, maybe you can consider me a person with normal feelings, but I was brainwashed. I just don't want that for our kids. Please do not surrender to a new ideas. Our parents brought us to be somebody, okay? And brought us to be also decent to society. Why we have to mix that and damage society? I just don't understand that. So please, do your best because you are elected officials, try to do the best for the residents and for the kids. For the kids, please get the smile of the kids in front of you and enjoy them. Don't accept that conversion that somebody tries to damage this poor kid's mind. I'm sorry for the timing, and I got a little emotional, but you know what? It happens when you get to an age. Even though today they told me that my cancer is coming back, but guess what? It's not what is going to govern my life. It's me who are going to govern my life, and I'm going to try to give the best to my kids. And I hope I will see you someday around my business.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else? Okay. All right, give us your name and address, please, sir. You got 5 minutes.
Cliff Dollison, 2010 Buckeye Road, Winter Haven. Good evening. I just wanted to stand, you know, there are many who will speak in regards to where we are as a people. After living in Winter Haven for the past 31 years, I have been a great observer of this community. I've been an integral part of it. I've led a church in this community for 31 years. And I'm impressed with what I see. I hear some who will speak about disunity, about whether we are awake or asleep. And some will guise it under this idea that we're not unified. But I think in many cases, they're making really the effort to disjoint us and keep us from being together. You began tonight, this meeting, with a proclamation of a group of people that are significant and certainly worthy of recognition in our community. I applaud that. I applaud all of your efforts that try to be inclusive and not exclusive. I think you're doing an outstanding job. And I think we ought to recognize that as a people who have served. I have served. I've served the city on various boards. I will continue to serve because I feel that is something I can give to this city to make it a better place. And not come here and complain about it, but come here to say that together we can accomplish great things, and we are doing great things for Winter Haven. I thank you for the service that you render to the city. I've worked with many across the city. I was at a pastor's luncheon the other day. We talked about some of the challenges that we face as a community. It was wonderful because it was cross-cultural, ecumenical, and just had a great fellowship and a friendship. So I know the spirit of unity that happens here in Winter Haven. So I want to applaud that. I want to believe that we are better than what we hear some saying. And I'm not so concerned always about what you hear on the national scene, but what we're experiencing right here in Winter Haven. And together, if we stand together, we will see this city reach higher heights and even be plunged to deeper depths. So thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for your service. God bless you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, I will close, we'll move on to ordinance second reading, public hearing. We have none. Commissioners, you have in front of you the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, motion to approve consent agenda as a whole.
We need to vote on both of these at one time.
Oh, we do?
Separately, don't we? Is that what it said?
No.
No? Okay.
You can do
I
them together.
misunderstand my notes here then. Okay. Yep. So we have a motion to approve consent agenda as a whole? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve consent agenda as a whole. I'll close the city commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak to any, excuse me, any item on the consent agenda, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing, reopen city commission meeting. Commissioners, any questions or comments on the consent agenda? All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion passes. Item 13A on your agenda is the resolution R2352. This is ratifies the city manager's authority to execute amendments pertaining to Florida's commerce. City Attorney, would you read by title only, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution R-23-52, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, authorizing, confirming, and ratifying the actions of the city manager and appropriate city officials regarding the execution of certain amendments to the subrecipient agreements with the State of Florida Department of Economic Opportunity for the purpose of funding mitigation activities under agreements number MT-018 and MT-019 throughout the city, and authorizing, confirming, and ratifying the city manager's authority to execute said amendments and to take all of the further necessary actions relating to said mitigation program under subrecipient agreements numbers MT-018 and MT-019, providing for severability, administrative correction of scrivener's errors, conflicts, and an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager?
Mayor and Commissioners, as I mentioned it during our agenda review sometime back, the city was awarded grants through the CDBG MIT or mitigation program. These are subrecipient agreements. These pertain to, one is the Ultra HIP, which is a coordinated effort to expand fiber networks amongst neighboring jurisdictions. The other is with respect to the Peace Creek on the east side of the community, and some additional planning on how to maximize our efforts from a One Water standpoint there. These were executed by the City Commission. Unfortunately, at the time, they designated Mike Herr specifically as the person who could sign related documents and amendments going forward. So what this does is it provides that that it is the city manager or designee without specific reference to my name or anyone else's, so therefore I can sign these going forward.
Perfect. Okay.
And this is, staff recommends commission approval of Resolution R2352.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
move approval of Resolution R 2352.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve R 2352 resolution. Close city commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak to this resolution, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing, reopen city commission meeting. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, like sign, motion passes. Item 13B on your agenda is adopting a business impact estimate policy. City Attorney, would you read by title only, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution R 2353, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, relating to municipal regulation, making factual findings, adopting city policy regarding the preparation and dissemination of business impact estimate statements prior to adoption of certain proposed municipal ordinances, adopting procedures, requirements, and exemptions for the preparation and dissemination of business impact estimate statements, providing for conflict, severability, the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager?
Mayor and Commissioners, effective October 1st of this year, Chapter 2023-309 Laws of Florida will require preparation of a business impact estimate before adoption of new municipal ordinances. Specific information relevant to those local business communities that must be noted within the impact estimate is a summary of the proposed ordinance, an estimate of the direct economic impact on private for-profit businesses, an estimate of the direct compliance costs that a business may incur, identification of new charges and fees that would be imposed upon the businesses, an estimate of expected regulatory costs and revenues, and a good faith estimate of the number of businesses impacted. This new law does not apply to ordinances required for compliance with state or federal law, ordinances relating to debt, ordinances relating to the adoption of budget and revenue sources, such as we did this evening, ordinances required to implement a contract or agreement, emergency ordinances such as those that we passed during hurricanes, procurement ordinances, and ordinances that implement growth policy, planning, and land development regulation. The new law also does not apply to ordinances that implement the Florida Building Code or the Florida Fire Prevention Code. A business impact estimate policy has been drafted by the city attorney and along with staff and is attached to this proposed resolution R 2353. The policy would also require private parties that propose, request, or sponsor a new non-exempt municipal ordinance that requires the generation of a business impact estimate that'd be at the private party's expense or permit assessment and payment of a pass-through charge equal to the city's cost to generate an estimate at public expense. The policy does allow the commission authority to waive that charge at its discretion if need be. Staff recommends commission approve resolution R 2353, also to establish the business impact estimate policy. And finally, authorize the mayor and other city officials to execute the same, and the city manager and/or designee to take all other necessary actions related thereto. I think we had a very meaningful and productive conversation on this Wednesday evening, and staff and the attorney stand ready to answer any questions you may have further.
We did have a good discussion on this, but commissioners, any more questions or comments on this item? Okay. Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Motion to approve Resolution R-23-53, adopting a business impact estimate policy.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve R 2353. I'll close city commission meeting and open the public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak to this item, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and reopen city commission meeting. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those like sign, motion passes. On to ordinance first reading, administrative request to amend section 21-96D. City Attorney, would you read by title only, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance O-23-52, an ordinance amending Chapter 21, Article Roman numeral 2, Division 5, Section 21-96D of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, for the purpose of addressing alcoholic beverage hours for sale or service, providing for administrative correction of scrivener's errors, providing for severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager?
Mayor and Commissioners, Chapter 21 of the code addresses alcoholic beverage establishments and was adopted in May of 2017. Section 21-96, parent D, hours for sale or service was amended in September of 2018 to extend the sale of beer and wine for off-premise consumption from 12 noon Sunday to 12 midnight Sunday to now be 7 a.m. Sunday to 2 a.m. Monday next. That was consistent with an ordinance that was adopted by Polk County in August of that same year. In 2021, Senate Bill 148 was signed into law, which allows restaurants to sell or deliver alcoholic beverages prepared by the vendor in sealed containers. This provision of state law allows this service as part of the establishment's consumption on premises alcohol license. Several surrounding municipalities within Polk County have revised their hours for sale or service for Sundays. Bartow, Haines City, Lakeland, Lake Wales, Mulberry, and Polk City permit on-premises consumption prior to noon on Sundays. Davenport, Dundee, Eagle Lake, Fort Meade, Frostproof, Haines City, Lake Hamilton, Lakeland, Lake Wales, and Polk City permit package sales of spirits for off-premises consumption on Sundays. Ordinance O2352, which is before you this evening, proposes to amend Sunday package sales from beer and wine only from 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. Monday next to beer, wine, and spirits from Sunday 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. Monday next, and to amend Sunday on-premises consumption from 12 noon Sunday to midnight Sunday, revising that to 7 a.m. Sunday to 12 midnight Sunday. Staff has reviewed the proposed Land Development Code amendment that is proposed and determined to fall within the limited exception to Section 14 of Chapter 2023-304 Laws of Florida. This is the hurricane law that we've discussed several times over. Staff's conclusion is that the request is consistent with long-term goals to grow the social, cultural, and business community of the city. Additionally, this amendment allows the City of Winter Haven standards to be more consistent with neighboring municipalities to allow local Winter Haven businesses to operate and be the opportunity to be competitive within Polk County. We did do a business impact estimate on this, although it wasn't required. Our conclusion of that was that 2352 extends the hours for the sale of on-premises consumption as well as the sale of alcoholic beverages for off-premises consumption on Sundays by establishments located within the city that have the proper licensure from the state to do so. In addition, there are no anticipated compliance costs associated. It's anticipated that affected businesses will have a positive economic benefit deriving from this. There are no new charges or fees associated with the ordinance, nor any regulatory costs or revenue accruing. The estimated number of businesses affected by Ordinance 2352 is 96, which includes 9 package sales locations and 87 on-premise consumption licenses based upon the licenses that we have on file and access to. Planning Commission heard this on September 5th, the regular meeting, and voted to recommend approval of the request. No members spoke of the public. Staff recommends City Commission approve Ordinance O2352 for placement on second reading at your October 9th meeting. Stand for any questions.
Questions or comments on this? All right, we will take this up on October the 9th, second reading. Next item on first reading is O2357, request by Enright Real Property Company. City Attorney, would you read by title only, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-23-57, an ordinance of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, establishing the Peace Creek Village Community Development District pursuant to Chapter 190 Florida statutes, naming the district, describing the external boundaries of the district, describing the functions and powers of the district, designating 5 persons to serve as the initial members of the district's Board of Supervisors, providing notice of requirements, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, a severability clause, and providing an effective date. General location. The area covered by this request is generally located north of Old Bartow Lake Wales Road and east of McLean Road. The area covered by this request is 38 plus or minus acres. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, Real Property Company LLC has filed a petition with the city requesting to establish the Peace Creek Village CDD, or Community Development District. As the attorney noted, this is approximately 95.38 acres located off of Old Bartow Road in the very southeast portion of the city. Includes 324 lots, which are envisioned within the boundaries of the CDD. Statutes allow the establishment of a CDD for the purpose of managing the provision of infrastructure improvements and public services, including funding. CDD will consist financing and to levy non-ad valorem special assessments on future property owners within its boundaries. The petitioner has submitted a statement of estimated regulatory costs. Total infrastructure costs are estimated at just shy of $16 million and will be financed through non-ad valorem revenue bonds. Based upon statement, the state of Florida, Polk County, and the city of Winter Haven will not incur any costs relating to the establishment of the CDD, nor per Chapter 190 of Florida statutes will any debts be incurred by the CD that are incurred by the CDD become debts of the city, county, or the state of Florida. At this point, there are the date of this petition. We have 7 CDDs operating within the city. Those include Lake Ashton, Lakeside Landings, Harmony at Lake Eloise, Villamar, Lucerne Park, Pollard Road, and the Peace Creek Reserve. Ordinance O-2357 is exempt from that very business impact estimate requirement that we just discussed, which becomes Florida law and will go into effect on October 1st of this year. Staff recommends Commission approve Ordinance 23-57 for placement on second reading on October 9. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioners, questions or comments? Okay, thank you, T. We will take this up on October 23rd. Okay, new business, we have none. City Commission liaison reports. Let me start off by congratulating Commissioner Yates, Mayor Pro Tem Birdsong, for your reelection for the next 4 years. You guys have got the 4-year smile, so congrats to both of you. I think the people must like what you're doing. So, Commissioner Yates, why don't you start off?
Well, I'll follow that up with thank you, and it's truly been an honor to serve these last 4 years. This is my hometown, born in Winter Haven Hospital. There's truly no other place I'd rather live than right here in Winter Haven. I just love this town to death, and I'll be here at the end, so hopefully not anytime soon. I do have several items on here, but nothing that can't wait until the next commission meeting. So in the interest of time, I want to get our city manager home to his wife as they're celebrating their 30-year wedding anniversary, and I will follow up on my items at the next meeting.
So Monday Night Football and the Bucks game has nothing to do with it?
It has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Nothing. It's all about you, T. It's all about you.
I encouraged her to come this evening, gentlemen, to the meeting so that we could have a formal date here at City Hall. But after 30 years, apparently,
We don't care about
she was
Monday
more
Night
interested in the
Football.
Bucks game too. I don't know.
We don't care about the Bucks. Mayor Pro Tem Birdsong.
All right, well, unfortunately, T and
That's all right, sir.
Brian, I'm going to do what I always do.
Please do.
I'm going to take plenty of time. First of all, I'd like to start off by saying that it's a privilege and an honor for me to serve the citizens of Winter Haven. I was born in Winter Haven, not in Winter Haven Hospital, but in a small house down on Avenue Q, Northwest, delivered by a midwife. But this is my hometown. I love it. And I can truthfully say I won't be going anywhere until the Lord calls me home. I'm going to be here. Not as a city commissioner, but I'm going to be in Winter Haven, and I've had the honor and the privilege of serving on this commission for over 21 years now, so I'm really pleased with that. T, and I want to give you some little advice. Now, you hitting 30 years. I can tell you the secret to get to at least 54.
Yes, dear.
Yes, dear. You got it. You know it. You know it. You know what it takes. But again, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Now to the business of the commission. I serve on the Water Cooperative, which is a organization of all of the municipalities in Polk County and the county itself as it relates to alternative water supply, which is going to be required for the future growth and development of Polk County. And so it's an honor for me to serve on that. And in fact, we have projects, and one of the projects that the city of Winter Haven water will come from is what's called the Southeast Well Field. And so there's a special organization within the organization for the Southeast Well Field. And so I was elected chairman of that particular entity at our last meeting. So I'm pleased to serve. But alternative water supply is what we're going to need in the future. Also attended the Bankers Cup, where Brad and Katie Worthington Decker were honored as the top man and woman of the city of Winter Haven, so I enjoyed that. Also, the Rain Dance Apartments did the ribbon cutting there, and thoroughly enjoyed that. And it's good to see that we now have some more downtown areas that we can live. And attended the Boggy Bottom Community Meeting, which is a meeting of one of the areas of our city, well, not in our city, but in the county that abuts up to Winter Haven, that we're trying to help to make some progress in that particular area. And so I was pleased to attend that. And finally, I just want to say that our mayor represented us very well at the mayor's roundtable. And
I couldn't get a word in edgewise, hardly.
well, when you did, your words were very meaningful and really and truly, it's like that old commercial when E.F. Hutton speaks, everybody listens.
Well, thank you.
All right, so you did a great job.
All right.
And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Well, I'll give you a break for stealing my thunder, because yesterday, summer ended, and normally as my tradition for 10 years, I've been wearing my seersucker suit on the first day of summer and the last day of summer, but now, somebody's over here looking better than me, wearing a seersucker suit, and he's got on white pants, so. Well done, well played. Very
You
nice.
encouraged me, so I said I'll try.
I agree. Very good job. I'll be quick. Had a Florida Municipal Insurance Trust meeting, quarterly meeting that was just held last week. Was able to go to that. Also, like Mr. Mayor said, Mayor Pro Tem said, and attended the mayor's roundtable. Next year, I'm going to encourage Katie, whoever the moderator is, to have the mayors talk to each other versus talk to the audience. That was something we're supposed to do, so. Chamber celebration was a lot of fun, and that was Brad Beatty that won the award, not this Brad. So Brad Beatty is the one that won the Man of the Year award, not me. And hats off to our staff for keeping that place cool, because the day before the event, the air conditioners went out, and they were able to pull in all these big units to keep that place cool. So kudos to our staff for keeping that place cool on that night. Went to the Cup of Eden ribbon cutting, and you were there. You forgot about that one, and you were there. It's a new coffee shop now.
I did the same stuff y'all did. So.
Yeah. So you won't even, but it was really fun, and what a wonderful family. So if y'all are looking for a place to get some coffee or some cappuccino, and they have cookies down there, it's on First Street in Bell's Alley. Go by there and support them. They're wonderful, nice people. Also attended the rain dance ribbon cutting, and the comment I made on that is I remember when we, excuse me, when we broke ground on that place about 1.5 years ago. Here it is in fruition, so nice to see projects come to fruition. Also attended an event with Grady Judd, got to have lunch with him. It's a fundraiser, but I was able to sit with Grady and talk to him about a lot of things that were on my mind. And Grady hadn't lost a step. He still got it, so he's still sharp as a tack.
You talk about his favorite city manager at all?
He did bring that up. He did bring that up, and I told him, good job. So that's it for me. I won't go on. Next, we'll go to the city attorney. You got anything?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
City manager?
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity to present one more item. I have at the dais for you, as you know, during this past year, I've been providing you quarterly reports just on some highlights of some things that have happened over the prior 3 months. This allows me a means to really look back and reflect on what's been accomplished, not just by me, but you have an incredible team of leaders here within this organization. So during the 3-month period that makes up third quarter, which is from June 12th until today, or actually until September 12th, probably the biggest thing by far is the budget. Again, I can't thank CJ Scott, our CFO, and Alan Weeks, our budget manager, Katrina Hill, who put together the communication strategies on our budget, and every other single employee that has been involved in this staff has been doing a great job. We met today with Achieve It, which is a company that is helping us track all of the metrics within our budget. Had our first training with them today to build dashboards for further transparency and being able to communicate back out to the public on how we're impacting those 6 strategic pillars. So we're very, very excited about that and looking to see how that progresses going forward. Capital improvements, again, with each of these, I try and identify which strategic pillar they apply to. We've accomplished a lot in terms of getting capital projects underway, particularly within the Parks, Recreation, and Culture. Had the contract approved for Cathcart construction on the Lake Elbert Trail, so we expect to see that getting underway relatively quickly. We opened the downtown dog park, the Canine Courtyard, I believe is what they have officially dubbed it. Joyce B. Davis Park is underway. Our Sidewalk Cafe project downtown is underway. Lake Maud Phase 2, if you've driven past that, dirt is turned out there. And I'm very excited to be able to bring to you in the next month or so a presentation on the Winter Haven Recreation and Cultural Center. I think you and the community will be just absolutely elated by what we envision that site's going to look like. Responsible government, personnel recruitment. As you know, we did our initial recruitment for our deputy police chief. We have gone back out for that recruitment. Had some phenomenal candidates for that position. At the end of the day, all had brought great talents and tools and backgrounds to us, but there wasn't a candidate that just had all of those to check the box that we need for our deputy police chief, which is expected to be our next police chief. So we are back out on the street with that one and feeling good about being able to have another good recruitment on that. We are also underway for our recruitment of our airport director. We expect to have a meeting hopefully later this week to discuss some of that with SGR, Strategic Government Resources, which is the recruiting firm that is assisting us with that. And as I mentioned, we were able to finalize negotiations with the collective bargaining agreement for the for the police department. We're still at the table for police and for the FOPE. I want to commend our personnel attorney, Greg Hearing, and Sean Dykes. They have been working on this feverishly to try and bring these in for a landing. That's that's a productive discussion that happens. It just takes a little bit of time, as you can see on the news and so many other places. City U, we kicked off Class 2 in August. We have 25 people enrolled in that, and we'll be wrapping that up in December. Your meeting in December, we'll have graduation again like we did last year. Katrina has put together a great program. I think they meet tomorrow night for Class 3 of that session, or I'll say Session 3 of Class 2, I think is the right way to say that. So they'll focus on quality of life and living your best life here in Winter Haven. So we're excited about that. And the last thing is just a reminder that we did do an emergency management activation. Fortunately, we were safeguarded against Hurricane Idalia. Our colleagues to the northwest of us up in the Big Bend area were not as much, but it was a great opportunity to activate our emergency management systems and put all that into play in a real-life situation without real-life impacts. So we're grateful for that. So Charlie Bird, Director Bird, and our police and fire and public works teams and water teams that all did what they needed to do, and a great test for us. So with that, thank you for the acknowledgement of the 30-year anniversary. My wife and I celebrate that today, and we're happy to say that we have spent 22 years of that with me working for the city, and even though I've been here pretty much my entire life, it's her home now, too, so we're grateful for that. Thank you.
T, also want to congratulate you and Duke again for what you've done for 20 years. So your wife, you've been there for 2/3 of your life, of your married life. Your wife has been there with you, so.
I'm sad to say that Duke probably sees me more than my wife, and I appreciate the, let me say this. I'm grateful for the opportunity to do that, that the commission affords me the opportunity to do that. That is a give back to the community, to raise money in that way and give it to nonprofits has been extremely rewarding, and it is a therapeutic experience for he and I both, so thank you.
Well, for somebody that's donated $80,000 to charity, that's pretty solid. So I appreciate Bob letting me know that and coming in, so kudos. And I remember when you started, you weren't a very good musician, but now you're really good. You've really become something that we can be proud of, so.
Is there blood?
Last question, Lake Elbert, I heard you say Lake Elbert is funded and let. Are we ready to have a groundbreaking out there?
MJ, can you want to speak?
Not yet,
to
they're
that?
working on getting materials in and working out the timeline right now on that.
Are we gonna have a groundbreaking in 2023, you think? Shake your head, yes.
I would think so.
Yeah, I think that's probably reasonable.
I think that'd be sometime probably post-Thanksgiving, but before New Year's.
Okay, so, perfect. All right, Deputy City Manager.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
City Clerk?
Yes. I just want to say that candidate qualifying for City Commission seat numbers 1, 2, 3, and 5 took place last week from noon September 18th through noon September 22nd. Mayor Pro Tem Birdsong was unopposed for seat 2, and Commissioner Yates was unopposed for seat 3, so congratulations to the both of you. For seat 1, those running are Kim Davis and Commissioner Mercer. For seat 5, those running are Jonathan Bush, Clifton Dollison, and Tom Frejo. And that's all I have.
Okay. All right. Emergency matters not received from the agenda. Motion to adjourn. So move. Adjourn.